There are some things in this world that cannot be replaced, not with money, not with apologies, not with anything. My mother passed away when I was 19 years old, breast cancer, 14 months from diagnosis to gone. I was not ready, you are never ready, but she left me something, a small wooden box. Inside that box, her jewelry, not expensive jewelry, not diamonds or gold bars or anything that would make headlines. But her wedding ring, the thin gold band my father had placed on her finger 31 years before she died. Her mother's pearl earrings, the one she wore every Sunday without fail. A small sapphire pendant, the color of her eyes, that she wore on every important day of her life. 10. The bracelet I had made for her in 3rd grade out of plastic beads that she had kept for 26 years because she said it was the most beautiful thing she had ever owned. That box was not jewelry, that box was her. It was the last physical piece of her that existed in this world, and I kept it for 12 years. Through college, through heartbreak, through moving apartments 6 times, through the best days and the worst days. That box came with me everywhere until I got married, until I moved into my husband's family home temporarily while we waited for our new house to be ready. Until I made the mistake, the single biggest mistake of my entire adult life, of leaving that box in a drawer in the guest room for 6 weeks. 6 weeks when I opened that drawer to pack, the box was there, but it was empty. Okay, I want you to feel that for a moment. 12 years of carrying something. Okay, 12 years of that box being the one constant. Open the drawer, box is there, pick it up, empty. You count my mother's wedding ring, her mother's pearls, the sapphire pendant, the plastic bead bracelet from 3rd grade. Gone. Okay, I stood in that guest room for a very long time, and then I started looking, and what I found was so much worse than an empty box. My name is Diana, and this is the story of what my mother-in-law did and what I did about it. And stay with me, I need to give you context because this story is not simple. And the people in it are not cartoons. I married James when I was 31 years old. We had dated for 3 years. He was kind and steady and laughed at the same things I laughed at. He knew about my mother, knew how I carried her loss, and he never tried to rush me through it or minimize it. On our second date, he asked me to tell him about her. Not I'm sorry for your loss and move on. He asked me to tell him about her. I talked for an hour and a half. He listened to every word. I knew then his family was complicated. His mother, Patricia, was a woman who had strong opinions about everything and expressed them freely regardless of whether anyone had asked. She was not cruel, not openly. She was the kind of woman who rearranged your kitchen and called it helping, who gave unsolicited advice and called it caring, who inserted herself into every decision and called it being involved. I had learned to manage her. I had learned the specific language required to exist peacefully in her orbit. And for 3 years of marriage, it had worked, not perfectly, but well enough. The house situation happened because our new home purchase had a 6-week gap between closing dates. We had to be out of our apartment before our house was ready. Hey, Patricia offered the guest room immediately. It's no trouble at all, she said. Family helps family. James thought it was a generous offer. I had reservations, but 6 weeks felt manageable. 6 weeks felt like something I could survive. I packed carefully. I brought only what we needed for 6 weeks. And most things went into storage, but the wooden box I brought with me. I always brought it with me. I put it in the guest room drawer, the top drawer of the bedside table, wrapped in a soft cloth the way I always kept it. And then I went about the business of living in someone else's house for 6 weeks. Living with Patricia was exactly what I expected. She cooked enormous meals and commented on how much I ate. She rearranged the bathroom cabinet I was using and said she was just organizing. She asked questions about our finances that were nobody's business and looked mildly offended when I gave vague answers. She came into the guest room twice without knocking. Both times I was not there. In both times, she said later, casually, that she had been looking for something. At the time, I registered these things as Patricia being Patricia, bondier issues, control tendencies, nothing new. I did not connect them to anything. I did not think about the drawer. I trusted because she was family. Because James loved her, because who would ever? There was one moment, week 3, I came home and Patricia was on the phone in the kitchen. She lowered her voice when I walked in, which she did not usually do. And I caught one phrase before she turned away completely. The sapphire one is the prettiest, I think. I stopped walking for half a second, then I told myself I was being paranoid. Sapphire is a common word. She could have been talking about anything. I kept walking. I did not check the drawer that night. I should have checked the drawer that night. Hannah, I will spend a long time wondering what would have been different if I had checked that drawer in week 3. Kent moving day, week 6, final day. James was loading the car with our bags. I was doing a final sweep of the guest room, checking under the bed, behind the door, the bathroom shelf. I opened the bedside table drawer. The wooden box was there, exactly where I had left it. Rubbed in its soft cloth, I picked it up. It was light, too light. I unwrapped it, broken the lid, empty. I have tried many times to describe what happened in my body in that moment. It was not immediate panic. It was something slower and colder than panic, like the temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Like the floor became uncertain under my feet. I stood there holding an empty wooden box that had contained everything left of my mother, and I could not move. I could not call out for James. I could not make a sound. I just stood there holding an empty box. Then something shifted. The cold became something else, something harder. I set the box down carefully. I looked around the room. I opened every drawer, every cabinet, checked every surface, nothing. I went through my own bags, every pocket, every compartment, nothing. I walked downstairs. Patricia was in the kitchen, making tea like it was any other morning. I stood in the doorway and said, very quietly, Patricia, my mother's jewelry is missing from the guest room. She turned around and her face did something I will never forget. It did not show confusion. It did not show alarm. It showed calculation just for a half second. Then the performance began. What? Oh goodness, are you sure you packed it already? Maybe it's in one of the bags? I checked every bag. Well, maybe it got mixed up with some of my things by mistake. Let me have a look around, Patricia. She stopped. Where is my mother's jewelry? Deanna, I really don't know what I need you to tell me where it is. She looked at me, I looked at her, and in that silence, I knew I did not have proof yet. But I knew James came inside. He could read immediately that something was wrong, I told him. His face went through 5 emotions in 4 seconds. He turned to his mother. Mom, do you know anything about this? Of course not. I would never. Mom. His voice was very quiet. Okay. She looked away. I may have moved some things around while I was cleaning. I'll look for them. She spent 20 minutes making a show of looking, found nothing, said she was sure they would turn up, said maybe Diana had packed them without remembering, said these things happen when you're moving. We left. I sat in the passenger seat of the car and watched the house disappear in the mirror. And the wooden box was in my lap, empty. I did not cry. I was already planning. I gave it 4 days. Spent 4 days of Patricia texting James saying she had looked everywhere and was so sorry and was sure they would turn up. Fine. 4 days of James being caught in the middle, wanting to believe his mother while knowing in his gut something was wrong. 4 days of me being very quiet and very focused. On day 4, I drove to every jewelry resale shop within 15 miles of Patricia's house. Gah, there are more than you would think. I walked into each one with a photo of my mother wearing the sapphire pendant. It was the most distinctive piece. At a third shop, the woman behind the counter looked at the photo. Her expression changed slightly. "Can I ask why you're looking?" I explained calmly. My mother had passed. The jewelry was hers. It had gone missing from a family member's home. She asked me to wait. She went to the back. She came back with a folder. Inside the folder, a receipt. The jewelry had been sold 11 days ago. Okay. The seller's name on the receipt, Patricia. Total received, $1, Ling, itemized, gold wedding band, $, pearl earrings, Urbeck, sapphire pendant, $, Sebai, gold chain necklace, Jewelby, Miscanalias bracelet, listed as costume jewelry, T-Buy, $700. She had sold my 3rd grade plastic bead bracelet, the bracelet my mother had kept for 26 years, for $700, listed as costume jewelry. I looked at that receipt for a very long time. The shop owner was watching me carefully. Are you all right?" she asked, Bureen. "Are you all right?" she asked. "I need a copy of this," I said. "Of course," she said quietly. And she made me a copy. I thanked her. I walked to my car. I sat in the parking lot. And for the first time since I had opened that empty box, I cried, not from sadness alone, from the specific grief of confirmation. And because some part of me, some small quiet part, had still been hoping I was wrong, I was not wrong. I dried my eyes. I looked at the receipt copy in my hands. And I thought very carefully about what I was going to do next. I called a lawyer that afternoon. I explained the situation. She told me that what Patricia had done had a legal name, theft. And specifically, theft of personal property valued over a certain threshold. Combined with the documented receipt, seller's name, date, itemized list, this was not a gray area, this was evidence. My lawyer sent Patricia a formal letter within sister-bought hours, demanding full restitution of $1 plus legal fees, giving her 14 days to respond, stating clearly that failure to respond would result in a police report being filed. I did not warn James before the letter was sent. I know some people will disagree with that, but I had watched James be caught in the middle for 4 days already. I had watched him make excuses. I had watched him protect a woman who had stolen from his grieving wife. I needed this to be real before he could soften it. I needed there to be a letter with a law firm letterhead. Something that could not be smoothed over at a kitchen table. He found out when Patricia called him screaming. The call between James and his mother lasted 40 minutes. I sat in the next room and listened to his side of it. At first, he was confused, defending, asking questions, then something shifted, his voice changed. By the end, he was not defending anyone. He came and found me after. He sat down across from me. He looked like he had aged 5 years in 40 minutes. "She sold them," he said. "Not a question." Yes, I said, "She actually sold them. Yes, your mother's." He stopped, put his face in his hands. We sat in silence for a long time. Then he looked up. "What do you need me to do?" Not, "Let's work this out with Mom," not, "Maybe we can handle this privately." "What do you need me to do?" That was the moment I knew my marriage was going to survive this. Even if nothing else did, Patricia paid not immediately, not willingly. She spent 3 days trying to negotiate, saying she would return the money in installments, saying the jewelry was just sitting in a drawer and she thought it was unwanted, saying she had only been trying to help by clearing out the room. My lawyer replied to each message with the same sentence: full payment within 14 days, or we proceed with filing. Okay, on day 11, a bank transfer arrived, Dov dollars, Ling plus Lopers. Toward legal fees, no note, no apology. Just the money. The money did not bring back my mother's wedding ring. It did not bring back her mother's pearls. It did not bring back the sapphire pendant the color of her eyes. Sevap. It did not bring back a plastic bead bracelet that had survived 26 years in a wooden box because my mother could not bear to throw away something her little girl had made her. Yet those things are gone. I have to live with that, and some days that is very hard to live with. But here is what the money did do. I took every dollar of it, and I commissioned a jeweler to recreate the pieces from old photographs. The wedding band, same weight, same simple design, same worn look replicated by hand. The pearl earrings matched as closely as possible. The sapphire pendant, the jeweler found a stone almost identical in color. Almost, and the bracelet, I remade it myself, sat at my kitchen table with the same plastic beads I ordered online. Made it again with my own hands, the way I had made it in 3rd grade, and I put everything in a new wooden box, a beautiful one, handmade with my mother's name carved on the lid. It is not the same, it will never be the same, but it is something, and it is mine. Yet Patricia and I have not spoken since. James has a relationship with his mother that he manages separately from me. That is his right. She is his mother, but she is not in my home. She is not in my life. And she will never again be in the same room as anything that belonged to my mother. That boundary is permanent, non-negotiable, forever. If you are listening to this and you have lost someone, if you have a box of your own, a drawer, a shelf, a small corner of the world where you keep the last pieces of someone you loved, guard it. Guard it fiercely, not because people are all like Patricia, most people are not, but because those things are irreplaceable, and irreplaceable things deserve to be protected. How? My mother was a woman who kept a plastic bead bracelet for 26 years because her daughter made it. Because love is not about what something is worth, it is about what it means. She knew that. I know that now more than ever. If this story meant something to you, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment below. I read every single one. See you next time.